Welcome back to another episode of This Week in CAA Football. I'm Bobby Broyles alongside Tim McDonald. Well, Tim, we're already in Week 5 now as we wind down the month of September. Conference play is nearing full swing as we take a look back at Saturday's action, with Villanova getting in the win column for the first time this season with an impressive win over Stony Brook, and the Tribe riding its stalwart defense once again to improve to 3-1 with a win over Rhode Island.
You're right. Where did the fall go? I don't know what's going on right now. It's great, but we're going too fast, I feel like. Anyways, Villanova, Bobby, I said it last week, they needed to get a win. What do? They come back home to Philly, over 11,000 people there, great atmosphere, get the job done. Really stunned Stony Brook, 35-6. John Robertson, the key, though, that I was very impressed with, a season-high 266 rushing yards. That's where this team needs to get going on the ground. They did it. How about William & Mary? Their second straight game, not allowing a touchdown. They blanked Rhode Island 20-0. William & Mary, I think, exceeding their own expectations. That's what's scary. Those players right now are playing out of their minds, and they come into every week now with a lot of confidence.
Conference play continues to heat up this Saturday with 3 games on tap. We begin with the first game of a doubleheader on Comcast Sportsnet as Richmond rebounds from a pair of tough losses with a win over Liberty and now hosts a main squad that's been among the league's most impressive programs through the first 4 weeks.
How about a little conundrum here? Richmond comes in, a team really 2 losses already, which is kind of surprising. Maine comes in 3-1. Maine played Northwestern really well last week, outgained the Wildcats. Tight end Justin Perillo played well. Maine, though, you look at the downside. That tough schedule to open up the year, 3 road games, it comes back to hurt them. Marcus Washaleski, the quarterback, he's banged up. Ricky Stevens, the running back, he's banged up. So Richmond right now at home is looking good. Michael Strauss in that offense. Ben Edwards came back last week. It's going to be a nice game down the road at Robins Stadium, Bobby. Whoever gets the ball last in this one might end up winning. We'll see what happens.
The second game of our doubleheader on Comcast Sportsnet will feature Delaware and James Madison as the Blue Hens welcome the Dukes to Newark for a 7 o'clock kick at Delaware Stadium. Both teams come into this one, Tim, 3-1.
How about the first meeting says 2010 for these 2 programs? Night game in Newark, Bobby. People are going to be riled up.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a nice matchup. Look at the offenses. 2 offenses who've tried to progress. They're relatively new. How about the running back? Daquan Scott for James Madison. He's rushed for over 100 yards in every game this year. Andrew Pierce. Then look at the quarterbacks, Michael Birdsong and Trent Hurley. I don't know. I think it's going to come down to special teams, Bob, because right now, on paper, this is a matchup that's very equal. Whoever can make the big mistakes, they're going to lose that game, especially in the return or punt or kickoff.
Surprisingly, first meeting between these 2 teams since 2010. You can catch this game and Maine at Richmond live on Comcast Sportsnet, as well as on CA.TV for our out-of-market viewers. Check the local listings in your area for more. Another big matchup this weekend will kick off at 6 o'clock as Stony Brook returns to Long Island for the first time this season to play host to Towson, which enters its conference opener riding an 8-game winning streak dating back to the 2012 season.
And how about this Towson team, 4-0 also for the first time since 1986. Coach Ambrose last week, he wasn't happy after that game. It was a little bit sloppy, North Carolina Central. They eventually pull out the win, head on the road again. I think this team's mad. They want to play at home, and they want to get those Tiger faithful. This is a good time to meet Stony Brook, because Stony Brook coming off 2 straight losses. You got to feel bad, though. Marcus Coker, the running back for the Seawolves, he's out for the year at an abdominal injury. This is a big game for Stony Brook if they want to turn things around real quick. At home, that's the way to do it. But Towson, so much confidence coming into this game.
Now let's take a look at the rest of the action around the league in our quick hit segment. Week 5 gets underway at 12:30 as New Hampshire comes off its open week with a trip to fellow top 25 foe Lehigh.
And Bobby, look at these 2 teams, New Hampshire and Lehigh, and look at the past. They've both made the playoffs. They've both developed winning traditions. It's a nice matchup. They've had some history. UNH, last time they went there, they beat Lehigh in overtime. New Hampshire has a lot of players from the Lehigh Valley. That's a big recruiting base for them. Offensively, both these teams, we know they're going to put up the points. Defensively, that's where they're both equal too in terms of wanting to increase their abilities every week. And whoever has the ball last in this one again could win it.
Kicking shortly after UNH Lehigh will be Rhode Island, which returns to Kingston after a pair of road games for a 1 o'clock contest against Central Connecticut State.
Well, you look at Rhode Island, and they beat Albany, and then you look at the Central Connecticut State team coming in, they beat Albany. So you say, hey, put 2 and 2 together. It's going to be a tough game. Rhode Island offensively last week didn't put up any points. They were blanked, Bobby. It's a tough matchup, and you have to be happy coming to Kingston against the Central Connecticut State team, who has some question marks on defense.
Villanova will also return to non-conference play on Saturday as Penn makes the quick trip across town for a 5 o'clock kick against the Wildcats.
And Bobby, can you remind me the last time Villanova played a non-conference game?
A couple weeks ago.
I think it was at Fordham.
Yes.
This time, I expect them to be a little bit more. A little bit more dialed in for this one. That's the word, I think. Come after this win, they go home. Now they're going to come back home again and play Penn, a crosstown rival. A nice matchup. Get that run game going. Don't have any turnovers, and this offense is hard to stop.
And we wrap up our rundown with UAlbany, which heads south for a game against former CAA football member Old Dominion at 6 o'clock.
The Monarchs of Old Dominion give up 58 points last week and still find a way to win versus the Citadel. Good news for Albany, that defense of Old Dominion has been giving up a lot of yards and a lot of points all season. Bad news for Albany, they lost 2 heartbreakers at home over the last 2 weeks. How do they respond? Can Will Fiacchi, the quarterback, get the ball throwing, find that offense, and find some rhythm?
Remember, you can follow all of our Week 5 action with the help of our game day page on CAAfootball.com, featuring links to live stats and video and audio streaming for all 7 league games. Also, remember to check in with us on Sunday when we present our weekend rundown.
We're all over social media too, Bobby. Check us out on Twitter at CAA Football. Use the official hashtag CAAFB. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/CAA Football. And of course, on Instagram and Vine, search CAA Football.
And be sure to keep up with all of our on-campus coverage this fall. Last week, CAA Football was in Philly for the big Villanova Stony Brook game. If you haven't checked out our Going Deep feature on Nova's Pat Williams, it's now up on CA.TV and CAFootball.wordpress.com, along with interviews, highlights, a campus tour, and even some Villanova tailgate action. It was a lot of fun there this past weekend. And we'll be on campus again this weekend as I join Alex Souza, who will be the birthday boy on Saturday.
Yeah, huge day.
And Zach Burris for the trip to Newark to watch the Blue Hens to take on JMU at what should be a raucous crowd, like we said, at Delaware Stadium. And yes, we're bringing even you, Tim, this weekend.
Whoa, I'm hopping on?
Yes. You going to behave yourself?
Yeah, I'll try.
Stay tuned to CAFootball.com and our official Everyday is Saturday blog for all of our on-campus coverage coming out of our trip to UD. Well, that's it for us this week. For Tim McDonald, I'm Bobby Broyles. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you right back here next Wednesday. Enjoy the games on Saturday, folks.